you please give it up for Jason Priestley? Keep it going. Already.
Is it? Oh, there.
He had you potted down.
Yeah, he was smart. Anyway, thank you for being here, everybody. It's nice to see all these lovely faces.
No, yeah, nice for you to be here. I'm so excited. You don't understand how nervous I was when I saw your name on my sheet. I was like, stop it. My buddy, I work on a morning show in Cleveland called Rover's Morning Glory on our legendary station, WMMS, and they drove to 90s Con to see the reunion of 90210. And
in Tampa? Earlier
in Philly. In Philly.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
At Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, yeah. And I told him, you know, you had to pay to take a picture with the crew, hang out. I was like, I get paid to sit next to Jason on stage. And he was so extremely jealous. He was actually the last person in the Q&A, and he pulled out orange juice in a cup out of his jacket and asked David Silver to party. And so I couldn't wait to tell him.
That's awesome. That was funny.
No, we were just talking on the side over here. You're a dad, 2 kids, 16-year-old daughter. My daughter's 16 as well. What do you think is harder, being a father or acting?
That's a good question. You know what? I've been really lucky with both my kids. They're both healthy, and they're both happy, and they both are overachievers. So I've been very lucky. So I think doing what I do professionally has been harder than being a father. Being a father, I just sort of took to it like it was second nature, because I would, and I've been very lucky. I got good kids.
Yeah. Oh, your daughter's beautiful. What's your son doing?
He's all into anime.
Yeah.
Yes. So having all the anime voice actors here, I've been over at their tables getting autographs for my son, which is super fun.
What's his favorite? Do you know?
He likes a ton of them. He likes Chainsaw Man, and he likes Chainsaw Man. Everybody loves that. He loves really random stuff like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Like he's into a lot of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did say my mom is a young mom. I believe you guys are about the same age. So I started watching 90210 when I was maybe a little too young to be watching 90210, but it definitely, I think, helped shape a lot of younger people as they were growing up, because you guys hit on so many really, amazing topics that can change a lot of people's minds about the way they see the world, with drugs, sex, all of those kinds of things. What was one of your favorite topics that the show hit on? And what was one that you wish they would have dived into more?
Wow, that's a good question. We did. We were good on that show in that we wanted to handle issues, and the issues that young people were handling at the time, which are unfortunately still the issues that young people are dealing with today. But we tried to deal with them in a way that was very fair-handed, and we didn't want the show to feel like it was talking down to our younger audience members. We wanted to talk directly to them. So we tried to make all of those issues that we were dealing with very relatable, and also wanted to be respectful, because a lot of the things that we dealt with were traumatic and could be triggering for people. Even though triggering wasn't a thing back then, but it is now. So the things that we dealt with that I thought there were a lot of things we dealt with really well. What's the one thing I liked all the stuff that we dealt with, like around date rape and around stuff like that. I thought that stuff was really well handled, and I thought that in the later years, like the Kelly Taylor cocaine addiction storyline, I thought was super powerful. what do I wish that we delved into more? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it feels like, I don't know. Like we did, because we dealt with drinking, and we dealt with gambling, and we dealt with date rape, and we dealt with people having AIDS and HIV. Like, you know, we dealt with a lot of stuff. Nothing comes to mind of something that I thought we dealt with more, because I felt like we did deal with so many issues very responsibly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even just making it fun. I feel like a lot of times at the Peach Pit, someplace you always want to go, right? I mean, I always wanted to go. I was like, man, I wish I could be there just to hang out. Did you guys feel like you were a family on set? And then when you left, were you you and Luke hanging out together all the time, you know, being teen heartthrobs and all.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we weren't hanging out at the Peach Pit, that's for sure.
Where were you guys? Where was your favorite place to go?
Our favorite place. Okay, here's a funny story. So in the first 2 seasons of the show, we would all get done with work on Friday nights, and we would all go to this Tex-Mex place in Sherman Oaks, which was 10 minutes from our studio, and we would go in there, and it was karaoke night, and for some reason we could all go in there together as a pack, and no one ever bothered us, and we just did whatever we wanted to do, and everybody was drinking and doing karaoke, and there was never a time when the restaurant called the National Enquirer. Like, it was, for some reason, it was sort of this safe haven for us. And so we all went there all the time.
What was your karaoke song? Did you ever sing?
My
or did you
karaoke,
just watch other people
my
sing?
karaoke song. Back then I watched a lot of people sing, but my go-to karaoke song is a Frank Sinatra song called Ring a Ding Ding.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. Frank Sinatra's a great choice.
100%, especially for a guy like me who can't really sing.
Absolutely fabulous. Okay, real question.
Okay.
Since you went from acting to directing, what was that transition like for you?
So early on in the show, I understood that we were on this meteoric rise with this show, and the success of the show was only going to last for so long. It lasted far longer than I thought it was going to last, thankfully. But I understood that the candle that burns twice as bright only burns for half as long, right? So I could see a day in the future where people were not going to want to see me, on TV anymore, because they've seen too much of me over the last 9-10 years, right? So I was determined to set myself up to become a director while I was on that show, and luckily for me, Aaron Spelling gave me an episode to direct at the end of the 3rd season, and the next season I directed 2 episodes, and 3 episodes the season after that, until I was directing 5 episodes a year every year, and it was an unbelievable experience for me, and it was a great way for me to gain experience and knowledge as a director. It was working, and I got to work alongside Aaron, and Aaron was the godfather of television back then, right? So he was a great guy. He was a great teacher for me and a great mentor for me. And the transition for me was super easy because my castmates made it that way. Our crew made it that way. They were all super excited for me to get this opportunity, and so I felt very supported by everybody. And it was good. It wasn't bad for me at all.
Yeah, it's great because some of us will just stay at a job. You're complacent. You just stay at your job. You like your job. You love the people you work with. And you never really think, what am I going to do next? Where do I go from here? Some people just stay. And they're like, oh, this is what I want to do. And that's it. And other people decide, I want to take a new direction and continue on. And it's awesome that you have that motivation to keep moving forward and growing and changing.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, when did you notice the first time your success? When you stepped out to go to a grocery store and people were hunting you down? Those kind of moments that you went, okay, maybe I can't go get my own groceries anymore.
It never got that bad for me. I was always able to go to the grocery store. I lived in the Hollywood Hills while I was shooting 90210. There was a grocery store right at the bottom of my my hill, and they all knew me in there, and they all knew me from before. So I was lucky that way, and I used to always go to the same restaurant, and it was a restaurant that I went to for years, and so everybody in there knew me. So I was never in a situation where everything got too crazy. And also back then there was a little bit of paparazzi, but you knew where they were going to be, right? They were going to be at the Ivy, they were going to be at certain specific places in Los Angeles. So if you wanted to get your picture taken, you'd go to them, and they would happily take your pictures and splash them all over whatever rag magazine that they sold pictures to. But it was a very different time in that there still seemed to be, in the early and mid-90s, there still seemed to be a certain amount of decorum between the paparazzi and the talent, and everybody understood how it worked, and then everybody lived within those parameters.
Decorum. That's my mom's favorite word. When I was a kid, if we were out, she'd be like, have some decorum. So now my sister and I always make that joke.
Well, manners are the most important thing, right? And I always tell my kids, I'm like, good manners will get you everywhere, bad manners will get you nowhere.
Yeah.
And they,
even here, if you notice, if you've been out on the floor, there's so many people out there, but everybody is still so polite. They all have giant props and everything. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's such a wonderful, because really in our society today, you don't see a lot of that anymore. With the internet, is there any kind of parasocial relationships that happen with you where people go back and watch something and kind of think that you're a friend or want to talk to you like they know you?
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain amount of, there's the anonymity that the social media platforms provide to people also lets people be a lot more, feel much more engaged in a way. Even though you're disengaged, you're engaged in a different way, right? And it's an interesting paradigm interesting paradox that happens with the internet, right? And with the social media platforms. And people do. People get very brave when they're anonymous too, right? And so they.
Oh, yes. I work in radio. I tell people I don't read the comments. Don't read the comments.
Yeah, no, never read the comments. They can be cruel sometimes.
How do you unwind from your day? Are you scrolling on social media? Are you watching movies? Are you reading a book? What do you do I know that you're an adrenaline junkie, it seems. Motorcycle riding, race car driving, all that kind of stuff. What do you do to relax or have fun?
I find to relax and have fun. I just love spending time with my family and my kids, right? And we ski a lot in the winter time, and that's we do that together as a family, and those are some of my most cherished moments, because I actually get my whole family and I get their attention, which is difficult. Teenagers.
Oh, you have teens, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm like after a day of work, I just I come home and if I'm working, whether I'm working as an actor or a director, I have homework that I have to do. So I have to work on the shot list for the next day, or learn all my lines for the next day, or whatever it is. There's always a lot of homework doing what we do. So there's not a lot. I feel like that helps me come down from being at work and the intensity of being at work. Just the act of sitting down and because you're reading a lot too, right?
Yeah.
And when you're reading, something about that motion of your eyes that calms your nervous system, right?
Yeah. Now, if you guys would like to ask questions, by all means, there is a mic set up in the middle of the room. You can line up and ask whatever you want. I can't guarantee that Jason will answer it, but you can try. My mom always said that too. You can always ask. The worst somebody can say is no.
That's good parental advice.
Right? Hi.
Well, I guess that leaves out me for Carl. Yeah, I was just curious. So beyond your role at Grant, what was the first role that you took on that really kind of separated you from that role? Like, for me, it was like Tombstone. I saw his ability. It was just like,
Yes.
It was almost unrecognizable. It was like, oh, that's Jason Priestley. It was really surprising to see him in that role. It really, for me, separated you from the role.
Awesome, thanks, man. When we were making the show, every year I tried to find a movie that would help separate me from my character, Brandon, because I knew that was important to have a career beyond the show. I thought Tombstone was good. I thought Cold Blooded, the character I played in Cold Blooded, was really good because he was so vastly different from any other character, to be honest. I thought those two movies did well for me, and then right after the year after that, I did Love and Death on Long Island with John Hurt, and I felt like that was a great sort of nod to I get it, I get the joke, I understand what it is to be a teen heartthrob, and so I'm gonna make fun of it in this movie, right? And I thought that did a lot to help me propel my career to the next stage.
That's awesome. You don't want to be stereotyped into one thing. I love that. Yeah, it's hard.
Well, you got to work to break out of it,
Yeah.
right? Because it's easy to just stay in your lane and keep doing the same thing, and you need to take chances, and you need to force yourself to take on new challenges. Otherwise you stagnate.
And you can't grow if you don't take chances and risks. Yeah, awesome. Hi.
Hey, Jason, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Great, thanks for coming to Dallas. To be honest with you, I hope you enjoy Dallas and come back here on vacation. we do have skiing here, but it's a little different.
Yes, you do.
Yes. Talking about social media a minute ago, they introduced phones back in 90210.
Yep.
How different does that make the show and the characters? Are there more relationships you think would happen?
Yeah, there would have been. So interesting. Like we didn't really, even though the world was going through a technological revolution at that time. People were starting to have computers in their home. People were starting to have laptops. People were starting to have cell phones and all that stuff. Aaron didn't want to deal with any of that stuff, and he was adamant about nobody's on their laptops, or if they are, it's someone in the background, and cell phones. He didn't want any there weren't any smartphones yet, but everybody had their StarTAC cell phone, the flip phone, which we all thought was so cool. But even that, he didn't want. He wanted us to talk on the phone at the Walsh house, or talk on the phone, in someone else's house, and not just be on our cell phones all the time, which is remarkable. How everything changed so rapidly, and yet it felt like we were, not getting on the technology train, and that was all about Aaron, because he felt like using those devices disconnected the characters somehow, and he wanted the intimacy of them being together more than anything.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you got it.
Say, most parents are trying to do that nowadays. Like, put down your phone, let's engage, I mean, it's amazing. Even when I'm with my girlfriends now, we forget to take photos sometimes when we're together because we want to spend the time and be present with each other. We're always on our devices, and it's so crazy how we're always glued to them now,
Hi, Jason.
Hey.
My name is Snow. I might be a little bit guessed.
Hi, Snow. Yeah, I remember.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you've done. And I wanted to ask two questions. One, my mom and I, this is a very special show for us. Could I get a video of you saying hello, Terry?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is it rolling?
Yes.
Hello, Terry. Sorry I missed you this weekend.
Thank you so much.
That's so cute that you and your mom, this is something you guys bond over,
I
right?
have all the box sets. Like we would go every time I got a report card and get one. Like,
I hope your DVD player doesn't stop working.
You'd be surprised. We still have VHSs. Like,
Yes.
That's awesome.
My question for you is, I'm at 10 years. There has to be so many happy memories on set. Is there one or that just really makes you really happy to think about?
That's a good question. Yes, there is. The first episode of the show that I directed, it was an episode where all the girls all the girls went to Magic Mountain, and and Andrea was scared to get on the roller coaster, and then some dude tried to steal Donna's purse, and they had to get her purse back. It was fun, and I always remember that day at Magic Mountain because it was a perfect, beautiful day. We had the whole park to ourselves, and we were super populated with our background people. And we got to ride all the rides we wanted, and we got to do all the fun stuff we wanted. But then I also, as a director, I got to mount a bunch of cameras all over the roller coaster, and then send Gabby around the roller coaster. She was really terrified. It wasn't accurate. And that day is a really memorable day for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You got it. Thank you.
And I love your name, Snow. That's beautiful. Hi.
Hi, I'm Lexi, and my question actually has nothing to do with 90210, although I love 90210. But I'm a huge hockey fan, and we just missed the Stanley Cup Finals. I want to know, what was your favorite team, and also, do you still play in a celebrity hockey team?
Okay, I'm from Vancouver, so I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan.
We wish we had played you instead of
Whatever. I'm stuck with them. I can't do anything about it. Do I still play on the celebrity hockey team? The celebrity hockey team is no more. Like we had the celebrity all-star hockey team. We used to travel around and play in different cities for charities, but we haven't done that for all. It was me, and it was Richard Dean Anderson and Alan Thicke, and people like that. Rob Paulson, who's actually on the floor today. Robbie played on that team, and we had a lot of fun. We played all over the country. It was super fun. But then at a certain point in time, sort of in the late '80s or late '90s, it all just kind of fell apart, which is unfortunate. But I don't play very much these days. I'm getting a little long in the tooth to be lacing them up.
No beard, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The older you get, if you break a bone, it takes longer to heal.
I don't want to break a hip or
Yeah.
something like that.
Hi.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, man.
So, my question, I grew up in 90210. I watched a lot with my mom. I remember watching the first reboot when it came out. My question is actually about the recent BH 90210 reboot that you did in 2019-ish. I remember watching that, and I just had a lot of fun just watching that and watching it all be together. And from what I can tell, it seemed like y'all were having a lot of fun as well. I just wanted to talk about some of that time.
The BH 90210 reboot. It was very high concept, right? And I think we all knew that it was risky because people were either going to love it or they were going to hate it, and there wasn't going to be a lot of middle ground in there. Shooting that show was super fun. All of us being back together and all of us working together was really fun. Certainly for me, and I think it was for everybody else. But that being said, the show, to me, when I watched it, it just felt very uneven. Like from episode to episode, it was sort of one episode sort of felt very. It kind of felt like a fake reality show, and then the next one sort of felt like this sort of very blue sky relationship type light comedy. Like it was just the tonality of it seemed to vary for me, and mostly I think that had to do with the fact that everybody thought they were running that show. So the people at Fox thought they were running the show, and the people at our studio at CBS thought they were running the show. And then our showrunners thought they were running the show. And then all of us actors thought, well, if they're all running the show, I'm gonna run the show too. And as we all know, too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And it was unfortunate, but I feel like the show was worked on a certain number of levels, but it was just a little too uneven, I think.
Well, you have one fan here at least.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
I'm sure it was nice though and comforting to be with them again on a set.
Oh my, I mean, it was super fun. And for me, you know, we shot the show in Vancouver. So for me, like a bunch of my actor friends were all the guest stars and all the recurring characters and, you know, and guys that I'd known for years, but never had the chance to work with. So it was super fun for me. And, you know, like it was a dream job. Like I would have been really happy if that job would have lasted a little bit longer because, yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. Hi.
Hello again, my name's Ashley, and I don't have a 90210 question.
Okay.
You and Jennifer Connelly were in a music video for Onset. From a director stance that you have as well, how much different is it working with a music video versus TV versus movie?
Oh, it's totally different. Like, you know, music videos are just all about the visuals and what kind of cool shots you can make. And that video was directed by a guy named Peter Kerr, very successful music video director. And that's really what the whole thing was about. Like, you know, so and the difference is, you know, when you're shooting music videos, you know, there's no dialogue, there's no stage direction, there's no nothing. It's just sort of a concept. It's like shooting a commercial. So there's a concept, and then there's a board with all the potential images that they're going to try to stitch together to create the video. And it really just comes down, like a lot of it comes down to, you know, luck and timing. And if you just happen to be, you know, shooting west and have two people sitting when the sun is actually setting, you know, you have to capture those kind of magic moments. Whereas on a film and television set, it's way more regimented, and your day is all scheduled out for you on the call sheet. Like it's just more you know, contained.
Well, it's one of the most beautiful music videos, and it has like the two most beautiful people in it, so it's fun. It is wonderful. So.
You're very kind. Thank you. I agree. Jennifer is beautiful.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
You can, yeah, tilt it down.
Hi, Jason. I'm Shauna.
Hey, Sean.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Now, my question is, how often do you get to see any of the cast? Like Ian, Shannon?
Well, most of them live in Los Angeles. I live in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh.
So I only get to see them, you know, a couple times a year when we sort of, you know, do events like this, and there's a 90210 reunion. Like and it's always great to see them all. We're all in a text chain together, and we're all texting each other all the time, like everybody else. But we don't get to see each other physically as much as any of us would like, I think, because we all have a really good time when we get together.
Oh, that's great. Speaking of Ian, he was just on Family Feud. He's got a nice
He was on Family Feud with his family?
Yes.
Like his brothers and sisters and his two daughters? Were they on there with him too? Wow.
Oh, you're gonna go back and watch this,
I
aren't
gotta
you?
check that out. I missed that. Ian is super funny, so I imagine he did very well on that show.
Yeah, I think they ended up winning. Him and I think it might have been his daughter. They
Yep.
went out, they passed money, and they won.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Right on. All right, I'm gonna go find that. Thanks for that.
Is Ian the funniest in the group? Who's the funniest out of all of you guys? Who makes you laugh the most? Or
Yeah, Ian's very funny. Luke was super funny too. Like Luke was, Luke had a really special
you
sense
guys
of
have a
humor.
special bond.
Yeah, we did.
Like brothers, I
Yeah.
mean, for sure, right?
We did, and we worked on projects outside of 90210, and we did a lot of stuff together. Luke was also my neighbor. He lived 3 blocks from me.
Amazing.
So I used to see him all the time, and he was a big part of my life, big part of my kids' lives. You know, because he would just stop by, he would ride his bike over to my house and
Just walk right
yeah,
in.
just walk in 100%.
Honey, I'm home.
We were familiar like that. It was a great loss losing him.
But it's a great, almost like that you guys got to experience that with each other and have that as a memory in your life, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, man.
All right, I am on special assignment for my wife, Holly, who is unfortunately, to her dismay, stuck in a line somewhere. So I've been given 2 tasks. The first is to capture all of this on video. go.
Okay.
Check there. The second is to ask this question. So, of all the seasons, do you have a favorite, and if so, why? Or what favorite episode? I should say.
Do I have a favorite season? I'm gonna say season 7. Oddly enough, because that season I directed 5 of the episodes that we made, and one of them was the college graduation episode, which was huge, and we had all these huge sequences to map out, and that offered me a lot of challenges. And it was also that season where Kelly Taylor was having her big cocaine meltdown, and with Jason Wiles' character, right? Like it was super fun and I felt like I was just very involved, and because I shot so many of those episodes, I felt really connected to all that material. So I think maybe for that reason, season 7 is my favorite.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Hi, how are you? Hello, Jason. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. My question is, I heard you say that you have a 16-year-old daughter.
Yes.
So do I.
Right.
So I was just curious, what's the hardest part of having a 16-year-old girl?
What's the hardest part?
It's a hard question.
The hardest thing I remember from this last year was her. So I taught her how to drive, starting when she was 15 and a half, and so when she was 16, she got her driver's license. And the teaching her how to drive part of it, for 6 months being trapped in a car with her, was fucking magical. It was awesome. It was so great because, she's starting to separate from her parents a little bit. Like, it's the natural course of events, right? And so being stuck in a car with me and having to talk to me and just spend time with me was something I'll never forget. But then we got her a car. And it was the first time she drove out the driveway and turned onto the street in front of our house. That, like, I haven't felt that nervous and that panicked in maybe my whole life. It was really upsetting.
We're starting ours this summer, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Wish me luck.
No, you're gonna be great, and just enjoy the time with her in the car and teach her how to drive, because it's the best. It's probably it's the last time, right? Because once they get their driver's license, they get a taste of freedom. It's all over.
Can I ask one more thing real quick?
Yeah.
What was your favorite memory with Luke?
What's my favorite memory with Luke? I directed a Hallmark movie that Luke started. Luke created this. Good Night for Justice was the name of the movie, and he played this character named John Goodnight, who was a attorney general back in the 1800s, who went around the country and adjudicated things for people. And so in making that movie with him, the whole experience, because it was 3.5 weeks of prep and a 4 week shoot. It was awesome because I would pick Luke up in the morning and drive him to work, and then obviously drive him back home too. So we got to spend so much, again, like being trapped in a car. We got to spend so much time together, just talking about everything. Not only talking about the project we were working on, but talking about what was going on in both of our lives and where we were at, personally, professionally, like all that stuff. And those are some of my favorite memories with Luke. And also making the movie was fun too. The time we spent on the set together was super fun. But I don't know, I feel like, because where we were staying and where we were shooting was about an hour and a half away. So I spent 2-3 hours a day with him in the car, which was super fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hey, you got it.
I love a road trip though. I'm one of those kind of girls. I love being in the car, jamming my own music, some snacks, let's go. Hi.
Hey man, I'm back.
All right.
So, like maybe there was a role or something that you didn't get, right? Is there something fondly that you remember, hey, I didn't get this role, or, because I think most of us here would probably like to see Unitar as a superhero.
Oh, yeah.
You're a really good looking man.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever in consideration to play James Bond.
Well, you're not English.
They're blind.
But I wish I could have.
Maybe you auditioned for, maybe you thought.
Okay. I'll remember one that was super intense. So I was making Calendar Girl at Columbia, and my agent called me one day and he said, "Hey, you got to go over to, where was it? I don't remember where it was." But he said Quentin Tarantino, this young film director, Quentin Tarantino, is making this movie with John Travolta. He said he wants you to come in and read with him for a part. And so I went over to I can't remember where it was, but I went in and I met with Quentin and read with Quentin. Obviously, I didn't get the part, but it was that was no, that's all right. No, that's fine. Yeah, but it was crazy, like, because Quentin always wanted to read with people. Like, he didn't, normally a director will sit back and let the casting director read with the actor, so he can just watch the actor. But Quentin, who fancies himself an actor, he inserted himself into the process. So it was weird for me, because I was like, dude, you're the director. Like, why? But whatever. It was okay. But when I watched it, when I watched the movie, so it was the part was like the young stoner guy that Sam Jackson and Tim Roth, break in and they're all, the dudes are all stoned or whatever, and then they shoot them both. Yeah. So that was that part, but I didn't get it. No.
Hey, nice one, right?
Yeah.
Is he making one more movie?
It wasn't meant to be, it's all right.
That's right. Like, it's sort of as an actor, you deal with a lot of rejection in your career, and I figured out when I was young that the best way for me to just let things go was that I would throw, so you go, they send you sides, which is the material that you read from when you audition. So I figured out very early on, thankfully, that the best way for me to just let things go when I was done was I would throw my sides away before I even left the casting director's office, and I would just leave it behind, and that helped me, because I wasn't always stressed. I wasn't always dreaming about, what if I get that? I was able to just put it down and let it go.
That's great. All
Mr.
right.
Priestley, how are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I just want to tell you thank you. In 1990, 90210 came out. I had moved for like the 18th time in my life with a military brat. Every time you move, you get your butt kicked at a new school. This show came out that had this awesome character, Brandon Walsh, who was the new kid, and he was the cool kid.
Right.
So you finally made it okay to be the new guy at school.
Oh, awesome.
I know you hear about, isn't that like country? Thanks, man.
All right. Man, dude, you got it, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
You've made such a big impact on so many lives. This will be my last question for you before I let you go. We were talking about teaching our daughters to drive, which is so unbelievably scary. I was in the car with my daughter and she is reversing and I'm like, stop, 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 stop. And she's not stopping. And then now she's finally, we get it to go, just be a park. And I go, when I say stop, just stop, put your foot on the brake. But she had panicked. I was like, very scary. Do you have any fears at all in life? Or are you I'm scared of spiders and roller coasters. Do you have any fears at all?
Not really. I've never found myself being afraid. I'm not afraid of heights, and I'm not afraid of spiders. Like, I'm just not afraid of those things. After Jaws came out in 1976, I was afraid to swim in the ocean for a few years. But other than that, I'm pretty fearless with most things that I do.
That's great. That's what makes you, Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, answering all of our questions. I mean, you're
Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Jason Priestley.